Alright, so recently I was accused of selling fake Pokemon cards, which is it's ridiculous. I've been selling cards on eBay for as long as I can remember, really. I think my account's almost 18 years old. I've got thousands of feedback, and I've got a massive collection of authentic cards that I bought and pulled myself when I was a kid. So I thought I would do a video on just exactly how you can tell the difference between real cards and fake cards. So I did buy a couple of cards off of AliExpress that I've done a video about that are fake, that I can use as examples. I've also got some fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards here. And I've got some fake Delta Species cards, which is one of the main reasons I stopped collecting Pokemon originally. I bought a bunch of boosters off of a seller on eBay back in the day, back in 2005-ish it must have been, and they were fake, and he was like, "Oh, it looked real to me." It's like you could tell instantly the boosters were horribly made. These have got a proper, they're a nice solid plastic. The ones on eBay, you could pull them apart, and like they're like stretchy. So yeah, that was very obviously fake. So they came with like crazy hollows, but they weren't. Actually, they were bad. They were bad, but they weren't the worst. But they were still bad, and it put me off. It put me off buying cards for almost 15 years, I guess. Okay, so one of the ways, there's loads of ways you can tell the cards are fake. First of all, I bought a Delta Species pack and I got an Unseen Forces holo in there. So that's that's the main one. And secondly, they're a lot thicker than real cards. So I'll use energy there. These are a lot thicker than real cards are. And you can feel they're kind of cut worse. There's like an edge on there that kind of curves up onto a sharp edge. They've not been cut smoothly, nicely like proper cards have. And they usually be off center in some way. Another way is the glossy finish on these cards. It's just so reflective and glossy, like they've been varnished. An original is a lot more matte. It's hard to tell kind of hard to tell in the light, but this is a matte, really matte finish, and it's an extremely glossy, shiny finish, and just feels. I say shiny, so I'll get non-shiny. But even that still feels really glossy compared to the nice matte finish on the original cards. So that's another way you can tell. You can obviously tear them in half. These ones I've got a sticker on the front for the holo, so you would try and tear that in half and it'll be really plasticky, and the sticker would just peel off. I think I did have some. See this Dragonite came out of the pack badly, so you can see the stickers all torn up there, and this Crobat as well. I think was peeling at the bottom of it. You can see the stickers peeling off there. So I'm not going to destroy them because I use them as bookmarks. I wanted to get some use out of them. I'm just going to chuck them in the bin. I'm not going to sell them though, like I was accused of doing, because I was selling vintage cards. And I do have, I guess these could be classed as vintage fakes at this point, but they're obviously fake. You can tell the colour is a lot brighter. It's a very bright blue compared to, just lay them out. Well, some of them are darker. These are some real ones, so they're a lot darker in comparison to these ones. You can tell instantly the colour. But yeah, it can be confusing because even going through here, That's another thing. They got mixed in with my collection by accident, and I was trying to separate them, and then things like this one's, to me, looks a lot darker compared to some of these ones, and I'm like, is that a fake one or is that a real one? But then you turn it over and the font is different. I'll see if I've got a real one. I'll find a real one to compare, but the font on these is different from the original. It's a kind of smaller, just a completely different looking font. Poopstar. I do have a real Pupitar, or Pupitar, whatever. So this one's actually got like weird print lines on it as well. You see that there. So if you look at the quality of the print, it's definitely not as good. But in comparison to these newer fakes I just did a video about, the yellow, the colour is a lot better on this one than this newer one, even though this is a lot better quality, more convincing fake than this one. So it shows if the people making the fakes just up their game a bit, it could be very, very convincing, but they just half-ass it really, which I guess is good. It makes it easy to tell. So you can tell the font there is different. This is a little thinner, and this is thicker. This is different red here, print lines there, and then the font is completely different as well on the text here. Just the spacing's weird. You can tell it's really spaced out. Takes up a lot more space, the text, than it does on the original, you can see. And the icons. Here the leaf icon is a lot bigger than on the real one. So, a lot of different ways to tell. That's just from looking at the front really. So you got the thickness of the card, the glossiness. If you look really close, there's no point showing it on camera, but you can kind of see 2 layers of card and like a thin black layer in the middle. So if you tore that up, there would be a black line in the middle. If you tore this, there's nothing. But like I said, I'm going to try and get some use of them out of like bookmarks or something. But I think I have torn some before and it was just plain. But if you tear these newer ones, they do use coloured cores, so that can't always be an indicator. But these ones have got other indicators. Like I said, the colours really dull. Even if everything else is is pretty much perfect. The dull colour gives that one away, and the dull back. But the back of these ones don't have all the issues that the back of the older fakes have. You can see. Oh god, this is looking at these fake cards so long. I thought this one was a fake as well because it was so much darker. You can see things like this blue bit here is just solid, and this one here has got a lot more definition and dark spots. But then if you look at this newer fake, that's also managing to replicate the dark patches. But then the things like the Pokeball, like around the white dot here, that's very smoothly printed. This has kind of got like a crosshatch pixely mess on it. And these older fakes are just a lot more obvious. It's just solid blue. Like the shadows in the lettering is very pixelated and rough, but in the real one it's nice and smooth shadow. So yeah, the colouring is usually the main way to tell, and the glossiness. Usually it's a lot brighter, but then obviously now these ones are getting really dark, so it's a whole other thing you have to be careful for, or on the lookout for. But the glossiness is the thing that always stood out to me the most. And then yeah, the font and all that. I don't know if I've got any. All my holos are in a folder, but I don't think I got any of these I don't think I've got any real ones of these anyway. I was so excited as well when I was pulling these. I was like, oh, Crobat, nice one, Dragonite, nice one. But then it quickly dawned on me that they were trash. And I got the money back. You didn't really fight it that hard. Anyway, yeah, with Yu-Gi-Oh! These ones, these are the nastiest ones I think I've seen. I think they're deliberately, these are just proxy cards, so I don't know if they really count. But these are very thick, and they're just the stickiest. This, like, so sticky. Like, I don't even know. They're so glossy. It's just horrible. I was using these just for testing out a deck before I managed to get 3 Witchcrafter Creation because they were so expensive before they got reprinted. And I got originals now, and I got rid of these out of my deck as soon as I could. But they were just a couple of pounds for just some proxies just to mess about with. But they were not anywhere near as nice as I was hoping. Because you put them in a sleeve, doesn't really work with Pokemon, but you can't really tell. But they're so thick in a deck. It was so obvious where they were in a deck, which card it was. But they're just so ridiculously thick. And it's already got chips coming off of it. Very cheaply made. Looks like it's probably just cut with scissors. And there's not even a logo on the back. They're just not even pretending to be authentic. These are just very cheap replicas. I don't know if this would be relevant for Pokemon at all, but if you ever get cards like this without the logo on the back, and they're so a glossiness that's so sticky you can stick it to objects and it wouldn't fall off. Yeah, so these are definitely fake. The colouring was probably, I think, was a bit off as well, and obviously it was meant to be shiny. So that's another way. If you get a card that's shiny, that's not meant to be, or more often than not, it's meant to be shiny and it's not, which I think is most of these like V cards you'll see on AliExpress and Wish and all that. That come in these fake collector's tins. They'll all be non-holos when they should be holos. So that's another obvious way to tell if you just look up if the card's meant to be holo or not, or there should be obvious. And a lot of the times they just use a scanner and they'll scan the card in. So I think that might be how they might have done these, and that's why they've got like a double holo on them, like the shadow of a holo and then the holo on top. But I don't actually think these are a sticker. I think if I tore them, it wouldn't be a sticker, but I don't really want to test it. Although they're thick enough that it might be a sticker. But these ones are very badly off-center, you can tell. If they're that wildly off-center, there's something going on. Alright, so there's one more way you can test out a fake card. So this is a real card. You can see how much light is coming through that from this torch on my phone, and then I'll replace that with a fake. You can see there's a lot more light coming through there. So that's another quick and easy way to tell if you've got fake cards. Let me test on these Southern Ireland ones, all these pitch black ones. You see these newer fakes, harder to tell. Ooh, and these ones, which I would consider these Neo Destiny ones, are even better. But that's actually got like a tinted, a light, like a purplish tint to it. I don't know if it comes through it. Well, actually, that's because that's a lightning energy. That's why that's yellow. So ignore that nonsense. Colour of the light doesn't make a difference probably. So yeah, there's barely any light coming through there, and this one's actually got a bit more coming through. So that's another good indicator. But yeah, these super fake ones are definitely, yeah, that works very well as a way to test. Alright, so I think that pretty much covers it all. Got the thickness of the cards, the glossiness, just the cheapness of the material, a sharper cut, the black, or the pigmentation in the middle of the cards, the stickery holo, the font, the icon sizes and the placement, the spacing between text, the colour will be either way too bright or way too dark. The back will have a much worse print on it. It's pixelated, just not as much definition, and you can shine a light through it very easily. I think that pretty much covers it all. And if it's meant to be shiny, or if it's not, vice versa. Poorly miscut, things like that. But if it's got this particular type of cheapy hollow on it, compared to, this isn't the best way to tell, but that's a modern hollow, a modern reverse, which is pretty not that hollow compared to the really glossy hollow of these old Delta Species fakes. And so they'll use either a star, a glossy stickery thing with the whole card shiny, or like this flash, and the newer ones will have different looking hollow patterns. And then also the V cards and things like that have got a texture, or not all of them do, but some of the modern shinies and promos and things have got a texture on them, like the Celebrations cards, like the cards in the classic set. They've got a texture on them, but I don't know if they've been faked yet or not. Surely some of the previous sets have got some of that texture, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, that'll be nothing to look out for. Texture on cards that are meant to have it, that don't have it. I think that pretty much covers it. So please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.